Hi, I'm going to show you how I made this exploding box. So I'll just show you how it works. So you unfasten it, you take the top off, and then it collapses down. And it's got, in this particular case, a cake. So I'm going to show you how to make the box first, and then I'll do the cake separately. So this is a particularly large exploding box. Normally they're based on 12 by 12 card. I wanted to make it from A4, so I thought, as soon as I was making it from A4, I might actually just try and make it as big as I could. So this one is actually 12 centimetres on each, 12 centimetres squared on each piece. So you will need quite a few pieces of card to do this. Okay, so on your trimmer, take a piece of A4 card. So I'm going to use Blackberry Bliss because I'm going to make this one using this paper from Celebration, the ombre paper from Celebration. Obviously you can use whichever papers you want, so that's why I'm using Blackberry Bliss. So what you need to do on your trimmer is put your piece of paper card on, so long ways like this, and score it at 12 centimetres and then cut it at 13. Okay, so score at 12, cut at 13. These bits, keep them because you can use them for embellishments and so on your box as well. Okay, then you're going to cut at 12 and 12 again, and it isn't very economical in card, okay, but I'm guessing these are quite special cards that you're going to be making. So out of one sheet you get 2 panels. Okay, I did try doing it the other way, but it's a bit short, so if you want to make a shorter box, just scale it all down. So again, to get my other sides, we want to put it in and score at 12 centimetres and then cut at 13. Okay, and that will give me this spare bit. So all these spare bits, they come in handy for decorating, so you know, it's not the end of the world. And then you're going to cut this at 12 and cut your next one at 12 as well. So that's your 4 panels. So we'll put our spare card to the side because you can use it for decorating and tags. So you've got 4 12 by 13 panels scored along the lower edge. Okay, then you need to take another piece of card and cut this one by 12 by 12 squared, exactly 12 by 12. Okay, and then you need another piece of card. I did say it was card heavy, and this one you're going to do 11 and a half by 11 and a half, and just put that one to the side because you don't want to get it mixed up with the other ones. So you've got quite a few bits and bobs left there. So this is going to make us the base of the box. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our pieces and fold them. You can use a scoring tool, obviously. Okay, scoring tool, make those folds a bit neater. Now whenever I'm doing construction, I don't rely on tape because I tend to find that it's a bit, it gives way after a while. Obviously you use your choice, but I'm going to stick with using wet glue. So all you need to do on these pieces is cut the corners off like so. So just at an angle, so 45 degrees ish. Cut all your edges off. Sorry, your corners like that. Okay, those really are waste, those bits. And then you're going to get your 12 by 12 panel. Do make sure it's the 12 by 12. And then you're going to stick these so that the fold, the score encourages it to stand like this. Okay, so you can put some glue on here. I'll be getting some more glue out in a minute. Not too much, but again, don't scrimp. So what I suggest you do is if you just line it up like so, you want it to be exactly on that edge. You want it to be a nice neat finish, and you need it to be square as well. If any of your measuring's not perfect and it doesn't end up square, it's a bit of a disaster. You can put your glue straight onto here if you prefer, so not a problem. Okay, but just make sure that it is square what you're doing. It's really important that you end up with something that is straight folds, neat and square. So if any of this bit isn't right, then your box just doesn't look nice when it's folded up, and it doesn't fall as nicely either. Okay, that's on there. A bit more glue. Put our next piece on. Again, just make sure it is square when you stick it on, so these edges are all perfectly lined up. Okay, and obviously once it's stuck down, you can just burnish your scroll marks a bit more, so that you know they're nice and sharp. They will fold and collapse much better if you have a sharp finish. And then take this one. It doesn't really matter where you put the glue, I'm alternating. I don't really have a particular preference. So just make sure that sticks in there, as we've done with all the others. Just make sure that it lines up nicely. There we go. And then you've got your nice structure for your box to collapse. Okay, and then this is where your 11.5 square piece comes in. We're just going to stick that in the bottom. It gives a bit of extra weight to the bottom, and it covers up the joins that you've got, so that just sticks in there. You don't want it to be 12 though, because then it will just pushes the sides out a bit too much. So that's just 11.5, just sits in there to be really neat. Okay, so that is how you make the basis of your box. Okay, so that's how you do the box. Okay, so some of these folding boxes, and they're quite deep lids, but I wanted to make it out of A4, so I was limited by using A4. I was limited to the sizes I could work with. So on this one, if you look, I've only got a 4 centimetre drop. So if you've ever seen them with longer lids, it just won't work out of a piece of A4, but you can make it longer if you use different card. So you need another piece of A4. This will be your last big sheet though, hopefully. So another piece of A4. So we've not done too badly really, have we? It's like 4 sheets, I think. So you need to score at 4 centimetres on this piece. So score at 4. Okay. Now your box is 12 square, but you need your lid a bit bigger. So you want to do at 12. You want 12.5 for the top of your lid. So across your lid here is actually 12.5. So we've got 4, so 12.5. So we need to score at 16.5, which is here. So we score at 16.5, like so. And then it just fits. Okay, it's 20.5. So you will literally be taking off a slither. Okay, so you literally just take off a slither. Turn your card. So it's score at 14, sorry, score at 4, score at 16.5, and then cut at 20.5 centimetres. Okay, and again, it gives you a bit spare. Okay, now then, this bit, You get your card, and if you line up the very tip, just tip this camera a little bit like this. So if you line up the tip of your square sorry, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so you might be able to see it a bit better. There we go. So if you line up the, I don't think you can actually see it. There we go. Right, so if you line up the bottom of your square on your paper trimmer, and you line up the top of your square on your paper trimmer perfectly like that, the diagonals, you can then actually just score a tiny bit in and a score on there, and that'll give you a nice corner fold. So you just make sure one point's on there, one point's on there, and it does need to be perfectly lined up, and then you can score up to that point and score that way. So now I'll just show you. We've got a square and then we've got these corners. Okay, so you need to fold over and do your scoring. This is our lid. Okay, and then you need to do your corners. So you need to fold them in like so. Okay, and you can score them if you want, or you can just fold them in. It doesn't really matter. If you want to fold them in, you'll have to lay it down to score. Okay, so if you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. Just lie your box down and give it a little score into the corners. So I do mine going round, so they all face the same direction. So I don't have two of the folds. So if this one's going this way, my next corner will go that way. So that way, then that way. So lay it down and just score into the corners and the edges. It's really nice and neat. So this one's folding this way, so this corner needs to go that way. Now, you can, by all means, use tape. But like I say, in my experience, tape just pops open. Like just after you've used it, or worse still, it pops over once you've given it to somebody. Okay, so I'm going to use these little library clips. I'm going to put glue inside my fold here. Okay, not too close to the edge because I don't want it coming out. And that up, and then I'm going to stick this one down here. And then fold it over, and I'm going to clip it. Okay, so again on this one, put a bit of glue into the corner, the folded corner, then put a bit of glue. It won't stick it straight away. Feel free, you can obviously stand here and hold it, but for the purposes of this, I think just letting it clip together and hold is probably a better bet. So you put glue on this bit here, fold it over. So feel free to use tape. I just personally, like I say, find glue is a fraction more reliable of actually staying stuck, because the worst thing you could do is put all this effort in and then come back to it and it just slowly popped itself open. So you just need to fasten that down. Okay, make sure you've got a nice neat square shape. So that's your lid. So the last bit before you decorate it, okay, is the ribbon. So the ribbon, you just need to decide what ribbon you want to use. Okay, so take your piece of ribbon, and I don't know how, I'm just wondering how long a piece of ribbon I've actually used so I can tell you. So I've used, let's have a look, 30, it's going to be about a metre, isn't it? 30, 60, yeah, it's pretty much a metre of ribbon. Okay, so let's take 30, 60, it's about 80, 90 centimetres of ribbon. Okay, so I've got that ribbon. So all we want to do here is find the middle, flip your box over and make sure that your ribbon's in the middle. Okay, so this is quite a good point at which a bit of tape's quite handy. Okay, and then you need to stick that on there. So if you want to be frugal, you can just use one of the bits of card you've got. I like it quite neat and tidy, so I'm actually going to take another piece of card. I'm just going to do this at 11.5 again. So I know that's a wasted piece of card, you might say, but that's fine. That's how I want to do it. If you want to just put a little bit of strip of card on to cover it up, that's fine. So I'm just gonna put that on there, okay, and then I'm gonna glue it. And I think it just gives a really nice, neat finish, and that will then be the ribbon for fastening up your box. So just make sure your ribbon's straight before you stick it down. Again, feel free to use tape on any of these bits that I'm doing. So that gives you a really nice, neat finish, and the bottom is really nice and weighty. So then you can take your lid, which I'll cut those clips back on in a minute, but for now it will do. So you can take your lid, you can gather up all your sides, you just pop them up into your lid, take your ribbon, you've got your bow, so you can decorate it however you fancy. Okay, you unfasten your ribbons, take your lid off, and your sides fall down, and they will fall down better once they're decorated and they have a bit of weight on them. Okay, so that's the basic box. I'll show you how to do the cake in a separate video.